What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sector for Nerds, and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars Retro Discussions. Today we're here to talk about Season 5, Episode 10, Secret Weapons. This episode was directed by Danny Keller and written by Brent Friedman. The cookie for this episode: humility is the only defense against humiliation. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with others to help support the channel. If you guys are new here to the channel, hi, hello, welcome to my channel. I've got so much content here over the past 6 years that you guys can enjoy. Hopefully you'll check some of it out. All right, so we're here to start the droid arc in Season 5 about a squad called D Squad. Very interesting. This is the one arc in Season 5 where it definitely has some good episodes, but I would say, like, as an overall arc, like, it's all right. Nothing great, but nothing terrible either. Definitely excited, though, to go through these episodes with you guys. I'll tell you what, they're definitely better than that 3PO and R2 episode in Season 4. As a matter of fact, we had 2 of them, and neither of them were really that good. All right, well, without any further ado, intro guy, let us know what's going down in this episode. Secret transmission intercepted. The Jedi Council has intercepted an encoded transmission of General Grievous. However, Republic intelligence have failed to crack the new encryption code being used by the droids. Fears escalate that the Separatists are about to mount a major offensive. Having located the source of the transmission deep within Separatist space, the Jedi plan a counterstrike to capture an enemy decoding chip, which will allow them to understand the transmission and thwart the Separatist plot. Thank you, intro guy. So yeah, we start out with this episode with 4 astromechs sitting in the Jedi Council briefing room, and well, one of them is R2. We see that, right? So okay, we've got one familiar face in there, but then in comes a 5th droid. It's not an astromech. He's one of those pit droids from episode 1. Calls himself a WAC, I believe. WAC. Oh, shout out to my man Tara Sanube in there. Who da man. We then introduce to Colonel Meebur Gascon. Just like this little green alien. And I say little, I'm talking just like tiny. Very tiny. All the Jedi leave the room, so it's just him and the droids, and it's like, all right, attention. He gets right down to business, but he doesn't allow for any questions, because that's what he likes. No questions. All the droids are getting upgrades, well, except for Whack, who he calls Cyclops. Cyclops, you're talking the name of by far least interesting member of the X-Men? Somehow that guy's the leader. I don't get it. There goes our Marvel audience. So, except for Whack, they're getting all upgrades, right? So R2-D2 has these advanced rocket boosters. We've got QTKT, the pink droid, has a remote-controlled magnet. We've got U9C4. Looks a lot like R5 from A New Hope, the R2 unit that had a bad motivator, Uncle Owen. Look, he gets this advanced laser cutter that, like, just loses control if not locked in position. Oh, gosh. Okay, moving on. And then we've got M5BZ. But unfortunately, he's, I guess, not getting an upgrade either. They're taking something out, and that's something being his memory banks to make room for the Colonel's command center. That feels kind of harsh. One of the things that I do admire about this episode, like the running joke throughout it, is that Whack doesn't call Gascon a colonel. He's calling him like everything else, from like a captain, just like every name except colonel. And then you think to yourself, like, okay, is he doing this intentionally, or does he just like not know how to say the word colonel? Like, I don't know. But I mean, again, it's not like Colonel's doing him any favors either, right? Like, he calls him Cyclops. He calls C4 a flat top. Later on, he was going to call QT Pinky. Pinky, I mean QT. So, like, they're going through the Colonel's plan, right? It's like they have to make their way to C-Deck. They have to take out some super battle droids, which Whack takes care of. You've got QT taking care of the mines with his little magnet that he got. When they try to open the door to get into the room that has the mines in them, BZ ends up taking liberties to try and open the door, but he ends up getting fried in the process. So then the Colonel uses C4 as like his backup command center, I guess. He can't fit inside him. He doesn't have his own luxury room or anything like that, but he just kind of sits on the top of his head. Whack does call out the Colonel eventually, because they kind of expose him for like not having the proper battle experience, and they basically exposed him for being, like, as Whack would put it, a map reader. Because they kept putting over like, oh, this guy fought in the Battle of Geonosis. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, surely, okay, this guy must be important. And it's like, okay, well, he's more so an analyst than he is like someone that actually fought on the front lines. So 2 completely different things. things. And Whack properly points out to like, all right, we'll play nice with you, but you got to stop calling us names and we'll go through with your plan. And then the Colonel's like, all right, very well, Whack, I'll play nice. So just only until one of you screws up again. Actually, one of the things that I want to give a proper shout out to in these episodes here is, first of all, Stephen Stanton for doing the voice of Meebur Gascon, and Ben Diskin, who did the voice of Whack. And the reason why I'm shouting them out right now, and I guess like everybody who like wrote their scenes and stuff as well, like one of the things that you guys are going to see in this arc, right? Like we've got what, 6 characters here, and only 2 of them can actually talk a language that we understand. The rest of it is just beep, beep, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop, beep. I don't know about you guys, but I don't speak astromech. So one of the things that they do, I think, really well in this arc, and it's something that's actually going to be portrayed as well in like later episodes of this arc as well, is like it's really up to the Colonel and Whack to tell the story of like everything that's going on. Everything that the mechs say kind of has to go through them, and they have to deliver it in a way that would almost present what the astromechs would be saying. So it's a credit to them. And one of the things that I really respect as well is when you go to the credits of this episode, none of the droids are listed for like any of the actors or anything like that. Except for Whack. He's the only one. So once they get the swarm mines down, then they go into the room that's got the encryption module in it, to which at that point it's just, sitting at the top of the ceiling there. So this is where R2 comes in. They weren't going to let the Colonel call R2 some dumb nickname. R2, the big star that he is, came in there and said, no, that don't work for me, brother. Unfortunately, there's this super tactical droid that's aboard the dreadnought that they're on right now. And earlier on in the episode, they, had a power loss on C deck because of C4, like lighting something up. And it was kind of just one of those like, okay, this is a curious thing to happen. And then once there's the second disturbance on C deck is when the tactical droid goes to investigate. Now, this isn't Kalani. I think I wrote down his name here because they had him at the end of the credits. Super Tactical Droid Auto. It's like AUT-O, lol. So R2 turns off the gravity and they like have this fight in the air or whatever. And like the Colonel's just like, stepping on the droid's head or whatever to like distract him. It was rather funny. Whack is doing a terrible job of floating around. C4 and QT, though, they're taking care of the droids. This is one of those situations where C4 could actually lose control and it would actually work to his benefit. Okay, that could be taken as like, all right, we're moving on again. I love how QT took the magnets that he had earlier on that he collected and he just let them all out and used them like against the droids as explosives. R2 just ends up falling on the tactical droid after Whack turns off the gravity. Or turns it back on, I should say. So then they end up getting that encryption module. They end up sneaking out. The Colonel says, funny thing about droids, the last thing that they'd expect to betray them are other droids. Because, like, they pass by some on the way out and they think, like, oh, crap, we're caught. But no, they're just, like, out of the way, tin cans. Like, they don't know what's going on. They go get back onto their shuttle and escape the dreadnought. And that's kind of like the end of this episode. And it's like, oh, the Colonel's mission has succeeded. Oh, you guys are all can make yourselves fine soldiers after all. Oh, and you did a good job too, Whack. And he goes, yes, sir, Colonel. Hey, he said it right. Like, it was a really funny payoff because, again, it was like something that all episode long, like at least 4 or 5 times he's calling him Corporal and he's correct him and be like, it's Colonel. So the fact that he like finally did it at the end, like, respect for him is like, all right, there we go. And I remember at the time thinking like, you know what? That was a really fun standalone episode of the Clone Wars right there. It was a fun little mission that we had this week. I can't wait to see what we have next week. I'm sure we're going to have, some Darth Maul stuff to talk about, or maybe some other incredible arcs or episodes that they have lined up for us in this show. How mistaken I was. Because next week, we have to talk about surely the biggest filler episode in this entire show. And when I say biggest, I mean in terms of the fact that, like, this is 100% filler. And I came out of that episode being like, what the heck is this? Who am I kidding? That's what I said when I was watching the episode. We'll get into it, though. We'll get into it. Next week, we're going to talk about Season 5, Episode 11, A Sunny Day in the Void. Overall, this episode that we talked about, again, was a fun little episode. Introduced to a bunch of new droids, introduced to the Colonel. Fun stuff. Nothing too crazy, just a fun little adventure. Again, I enjoyed this episode a lot more than I enjoyed the 3PO and R2 episodes from Season 4, which I don't think were that great. So that is going to wrap us up for today, you guys. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
Well, this is a fine mess you mechs got us into. Look at this. All the database says is Abathar, information on planet Void.